What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the NBA Pick and Pod. My name is Dawson Shine, and I'm your host. And I've been on a hiatus the past 4 days because I was down in Louisiana, but I'm back and I'm ready to talk about some Olympic basketball. Hope y'all are excited because we are going to start talking about Team USA and how shitty they are. Yeah, no, they're bad. This is really bad. First of all, we're going to talk about the game that happened 3 days ago, which was Team USA versus Team Serbia. And this one came down to the final seconds. Let me tell you, the final seconds. You may not have expected that, even though Team USA did have that very close upset against Team Australia. They still won by a comfortable margin of 10 points. Or I wouldn't say comfortable, but they won by a decent margin. And they are the better team. They come into this game with obviously loaded out talent from the NBA. You got Kyrie Irving, you got Klay Thompson, DeMarcus Cousins, DeAndre Jordan, whoever you want, we have it, except for, the better players like LeBron James. But ignore that. And Team Serbia came in with Nikola Jokic, who was a rookie for the Denver Nuggets this past season. And he's shown a great promise this last year. He had 10.7 rebounds a game in the NBA, and definitely looks like he's going to be a bright spot in the future. But playing that last game against Team USA showed a lot more promise than any game in the NBA he had. He put up an amazing 25 points. He had a positive plus-minus, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and he ate them alive inside and chipped in 2 threes. He was absolutely dominant on the bigs like DeMarcus Cousins and DeAndre Jordan, and they just couldn't keep up with him on the inside. He would just slip a screen, head down into the middle, wide open layups, or he'd go right over them. Didn't matter. He was absolutely dominant, especially against the weak defense of DeMarcus Cousins. And I'm sure you heard this a lot so far, at least with the Olympic basketball, but Team USA has been terrible on defense. Absolutely terrible. And you could see it throughout the game against Serbia. They'd get an 8 or 9 point lead. They looked like they were about to cruise to a massive victory, and instead, they started to be lazy on defense. And more than being lazy, they started to play like they were so far and above their competition. Instead of just simply, letting people do backdoor cuts on them, which is one way to play lazy defense if you think you're good, they were actually playing so hyper-aggressive on defense, they would basically double every time the ball handler got the ball. They tried to trap him. And Milos Teodosic, who was the point guard and the best passer on the court during this game, was not having any of that. He had 18 points, he had 6 assists, including one of the nastiest passes I've seen in the tournament so far. Right from behind his head. Almost looked like one of Rondo's passes, way back when he was on the Celtics. But yeah, Teodosic was not having any of this hyper-aggressive defense, and every time the Celtics tried to hedge up on him, double-team him, he would just throw it right over the top of the double team to the middle of the court where you'd find a wide-open Nikola Jokic or Miroslav Radorica. They were both dominant against this weak USA defense that was constantly playing the passing lanes, trying to jump on the ball handler. And it was just so ineffective overall. You wouldn't believe it. And also, on the offensive end, they turned into trash isolation plays, where all they run is a couple of simple curls and iso balls with no off-ball movement. You just don't ever see this in the NBA, and yet here you are with tons and tons of NBA talent, and the only reason they're winning is because they're basically saying, we got a couple more NBA players than you, beat that. And they're getting lucky, really. They're not winning this because they deserve to win this. They're only winning this because they have just enough talent to cruise by, and it's not going to fly. They're cutting every single one of these games so close. You got guys like Kevin Durant sitting in the corner acting like he's just Ray Allen at the end of his career, hoping to hit a 3 in the corner and that's it. Like, what are you doing, Kevin Durant? We're talking MVP, and you can't just get the ball at the top of the key, try and run some plays, move around off ball, go through some screens. Are you serious? Or you try to just post up DeMarcus Cousins, he tries to barrel his way through, does his little spin move, steps into the paint, travels again. He constantly travels with these foreign refs because the FIBA rules actually have travels get called. So stop feeding him. Get some pick and rolls going. Get something going. It's just frustrating to watch as a fan because you see no movement off ball. You got guys like Kyrie Irving who are just trying to do it all on their own. He was 5 for 8 in this game for 15 points, but he just continued to isolate. And when he isolates and has the ball in his hands for all 24 seconds of the shot clock, then the rest of the team stands around because they expect him to just go to work on his own. And the rotations on defense, as we've said, incredible lapses in them. Could not actually get anyone covered for consistent periods of time. Too aggressive in the passing lanes. And you'd hope that this game would be a wake-up call for them, right? Because they barely won again by 3 points against Team Serbia. And they had a Team France coming right up after that were going to be sitting Tony Parker, one of their best players in their history, because they need to rest him for the elimination rounds coming up. So you'd think that U.S. would take that as an opportunity to really click in gear, beat up on a team missing one of their best players, and hopefully get going again. But that didn't happen. And here we go with Team USA facing off against Team France, with the U.S. winning by, guess how many points? 3. 100-97. Are you serious? They won by 3 again against Team France. And you want to know how they won? Klay Thompson finally went off. He has been terrible, including a very, very measly 3 points when he played against Serbia. But he went off for 30 against Team France. And thank God he did, or they'd have been screwed. Because without his 30 points, they only had Kevin Durant 17, and no one else scored above 10. And you want to know why no one else scored above 10? Because they played trash offense again. They continued to isolate. They continued to play as if they were just a better team and would win simply on isolation ball. And they had very little off-ball movement. And the main culprit of this, Kevin Durant. It's like he's sitting out there just expecting to be handed the gold medal, like he expects to be handed the ring when he goes and plays for the Golden State Warriors this year. Lazy. I can't get on him enough because he consistently doesn't watch his man on defense, getting backdoor cut constantly, or just simply getting beat off the dribble. It's Kevin Durant. You should be able to stay in front of your man on the perimeter. And on top of that, on offense, he's barely running off ball, sitting around like he's a spot-up shooter, doesn't run off screens, doesn't get any movement besides to stand around and hope that the defense collapses and he gets an open shot. That's not aggressive enough. That's not well planned enough. And Coach K needs to actually step up his coaching game and put an offense on this court because he's acting like he can do what he did in the past with just LeBron James, Chris Paul running the offense, Kobe Bryant whipping the team into shape. He doesn't have those players right now. He doesn't have a primary ball handler that's actually a primary distributor that passes mainly. He doesn't have that luxury anymore of someone who can run this offense. So he needs to make an offense. I'm sorry, but playing on talent alone is going to bite them, and we may have another 2004 where we don't get the gold medal. And that's inexplicable for this team and this talent, especially compared to the talent pool. I mean, against France, no offense to France, but without Tony Parker, their best player should be Nicolas Batum. But he was one of the worst on the court. He had 14 points, but he was also one of the least efficient when it comes to plus or minus, and he was very poor on defense. Their best players was Huertel and Nando De Colo, who both pitched in 18 points, with Huertel getting 9 assists as well. They ran the offense well. They played just like Serbia tried to play, keeping it close, keeping it very tight with limited transition opportunities, protecting the ball, and working it inside whenever they got double-teamed aggressively on the perimeter. And that makes me nervous because, as you can see, this is replicable. You have teams that are just completely copying the same tactics that Australia used and then performing even better, and they have less talent than Australia. What if Team USA faces off against Australia in the later round in the gold medal match? You think they're going to win by 10 again if they play like this? No. They're going to lose by 10. They're cutting this closer and closer, and teams are finding the formula to win, and that's frightening. Team USA needs to step it up in their first match in the elimination round, or they might not be having a long tournament. And I'd be worried because they might not. So, I'm done ripping on Team USA. I'm going to talk about the actual matchups in the elimination round. Team USA will be facing off against Argentina because Argentina lost to Spain on the final day, 92-73, which eliminated Brazil from the tournament and made Argentina face off against the US in the first round. which is going to be very difficult for the U.S. because, as we all remember, Argentina has it out for the U.S. Remember 2004 in Athens? Manu Ginobili, 24 points, led them over the U.S. in the semifinals to send U.S. to a bronze medal, while Argentina rolled on to the gold. Well, Team USA will be facing them again, and obviously Ginobili's quite a bit older, but Argentina is still quite a bit frightening because you do not want to underestimate talent of a team that has very old, wise players. They have Carlos Delfino on the roster, Luis Scola, who will probably be playing a lot more minutes than he was in the past couple of games, and you expect him to go pretty well. And La Provatola, who played incredible against Spain. He had 21 points himself. And Campazzo, who's been a pretty good forward for them with double digits in every single game he's played in this tournament. So they're not a team to underestimate. But we all know the U.S., and they're probably going to underestimate them as usual. But if they do, it's going to be a very, very big upset. Also, on top of the U.S. playing Argentina, they will also have on the same side of the bracket Spain going against France, which is going to be a very interesting matchup with Marc Gasol, Ricky Rubio, and all of them going up against the France roster with Tony Parker, Nicolas Batum, Huertel, etc. It's going to be a very good match, I think. Two evenly matched teams, and you probably don't want France to win considering how they just played against Team USA not even 2 days ago. So whoever wins that match will be facing off against the winner of the U.S.-Argentina match to go on to the gold medal match. On the other side of the bracket, you have Croatia, who won their side 5-0, and they will be facing off against Serbia. Now, that's a lot of history between those two teams. As we know, they used to have some big political issues with each other, including the time when the Croatian team actually walked off the court, off the medal stand, when Serbia won the medal back in 1997. But I'm thinking that we're going to finally have a curse lifted with one of those two teams getting into the semifinals and then hopefully getting into one of the medal matches. But Croatia is definitely looking like a frightening team, and you might want to watch out for them getting into the gold medal game against the U.S. because they will dominate. Also, Serbia, that's no joke. As we saw when Team US played them, they are actually a very well-run team, especially in the offensive end. And you got to watch out for Jokic and Raluka because they are both very capable big men who are going to be frightening if they're played consistently and get enough time on the court. And then the final match is Australia versus Lithuania. Lithuania is playing pretty okay at best. Jonas Valanciunas has underperformed quite a bit, and I don't expect them to make a lot of noise. Australia will most likely win that decently handedly, and they'll move on to the semifinals, to face off against the winner of Croatia-Serbia, which is the real match to watch out of those two. So that's all I'm going to be talking about today, guys. Thanks for listening. Sorry about the hiatus, but hope you enjoyed the show. And I'll get back to you in a couple of days with another episode talking about the elimination round and how it's gone so far. Thanks for listening. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for future episodes. Have a great day.